Okay, this is going to be part 3, the final boss, last level, the finale. Alright, I left off at age 21 when I got dumped by my then fiance. So that that probably that was definitely a turning point in my career as an addict per se, because I went out of control, man. Like, I was hurt so bad that and it wasn't just her leaving either. It was the fact that I had just failed in the military. I didn't have a job. I came home and I was living with my parents, and then she left me, so I was alone living with my parents with no job and no. I didn't have anything, man. I mean, I was lucky I had a place to sleep. Looking back, I was lucky in a sense. I mean, I was still alive. I still had food. I had a bed, a roof. It wasn't as bad, I guess, as I thought it was then. Um, Nevertheless, I spiraled out of control. Uh, yeah, stealing my parents' credit cards and debit cards, taking vast amounts of money out of their accounts, pawning electronics and jewelry I could find just to get a 20 bag. Um, yeah, and 21 was about the time I started doing, broadening the scope of what drugs I used. I started to use more cocaine and crack cocaine. Um, Fentanyl was around, so I was using that as well, and carfentanil. I was one of those ones who was looking for the stuff that killed people because, I mean, it's strong. All drug addicts want the strongest product, but I mean, shit's sad, man. It's really sad. I don't like talking about this, but all right. Move on to age 22. Now, I actually did end up getting a security job at a hotel here in Myrtle Beach, and I had this job for I think like three months. That's how long I lasted, was 3 months, because I would sit in the security room and get high and just watch the monitors all day. I wouldn't really do my job. Um, and That came to a head when eventually they asked me to come in to do day shift. I forgot to say I work night shift at this hotel security. He asked me to come in day shift, and I woke up, went in, and in the first hour of that shift, I vomited profusely everywhere because I was so high. I was so messed up from these drugs, and yeah, I got let go the day after that, and I wasn't surprised. I mean, who wants someone like that working for him? Not me, not this guy. And I was the guy who did it, so yeah. So 22 to 23, I was just working on and off different entry level positions in a lot of hotels and progressing my addiction. I would get higher, more get higher. That sounded weird when I said it, but I would do more and more and more. And I I looked in the mirror one day and saw how skinny I was, and I ended up weighing about 155 pounds, and that's a little over 70 kilograms for uh, Europeans. Um, I'm not supposed to be that small. If you see me in person, I'm a decently tall guy. I usually weigh about 190 to 200 pounds. So 150, I was looking like my tripod here. You can't see it, but imagine it. It's a tripod. Uh, so 22 to 23, yeah, I'm just I realized I was that small and that I had to do something about it. So I quit cold turkey, and that withdrawal was a hell I don't wish on anybody, man. I Withdrawal is one of the worst things in this world to me. Like, people kill themselves to avoid going through withdrawal, and it's only like a week or two that you have to go, unless it's methadone, but people would rather die than go a week or two suffering from this. That's how bad withdrawals are. Yeah, yep. But, uh, yeah, so I get through the withdrawals some magical way, and I ended up going to this new rehab. It's called Faith Home. It's in Greenwood, South Carolina, but Faith Home, it's a Christian-based rehab. And you're supposed to go there after you're done detoxing, and it's a 2-month program. And it's a fantastic program. It's free. You don't have to be in state to go to it. You can call them right now, and they'll put you on a waiting list, and you'll be in between 3 and 6 weeks. And then, like I said, it's a 2-month program. But yeah, this program is where I met Jonathan. We were roommates in this rehab, and it was awesome, man. I started to get some of who I was back, because you lose a lot of yourself when you do drugs, and it was awesome, man. I had a really good time there, and if you're not Christian, and I mean, I get where you're coming from, but this still is a really good place. I mean, you don't have to be a Christian to go there, but just be respectful, and and I think you'll have a good time. It's a very great place run by a very wonderful woman who, I mean, a very wonderful woman, very wonderful staff too. Yeah, nothing but good things to say about Faith Home. And after graduation, I went to a halfway house in Greenwood, South Carolina too, and wouldn't you know, Jonathan was there. So awesome. My buddy's there, roommates in rehab, roommates in this halfway house, and I mean, I stay there from 22 to 23, and yeah, ended up having a few problems at the halfway house. People were stealing the food that I bought, and I didn't have income at the time, so you're stealing all that I have. Like, I just have food and clothes, and I mean, you're a shitty person when you have a job and you're stealing someone's food who has no income. You're a piece of shit, and I hope you get what's coming to you. But I'm not going to name names, but oh, I have a story about that halfway house too that's really funny. I might make another video today. So yeah, I part ways from that halfway house, and Jonathan does too, but he parts ways like about a week before I do, and different situations, but yeah, I keep up with him in phone contact back home, and he ended up overdosing in a parking lot and dying, and I have a video. I'll link it at the end, but yeah, that was really painful for me. And I started using again. So at this point, I'm 23, and I'm sorry, I'm using again. But there's a very big change in my thought process. I'm not sure if I just matured, because I'm still young at this point. Well, I am still, but I mean, being 23 and using, I came to the realization that I don't have any skills. I don't have any education. I mean, there's nothing good can come from using drugs, and it took me 8, one of those two number of years to figure that out, and I'm glad I did, because I wasn't using for long. I mean, I turned 24, and Jonathan died a little bit before that, and I went back to Faith Home. I decided to, I stopped using drugs again cold turkey, and decided to go back to Faith Home, and graduated again, got home. I had a few slip-ups where I would get high every now and then, and it pained me every time to do it. Eventually I just stopped using altogether before I turned 25. And that's more or less the broad story of how I became an addict and how I stopped. It was multiple deaths and a sudden realization that made me come to the conclusion that I don't want to get high anymore. I just don't want to do it. It's not worth it. Nothing fun comes of it. I'm not getting the same feeling that I did when I first was using. Uh, and by age 25, I was completely clean. And I'm 26 now, so it's been a little over a year that I've been clean. And my sister got clean around the same time. She has her story though, so I'll let her tell hers in her own videos. But something I want to touch on that I said a minute ago was that I wasn't getting the same feeling from the drugs that I used to get, and that's something that happens is opiates specifically make you feel like you're wrapped in a warm blanket of love, and that's dangerous, especially for someone like me who I feel like a castaway most of the time, an outcast, a castaway, a pariah. So having a drug provide a feeling like that is very dangerous for me. But as my addiction progressed, it stopped feeling like that, and instead of getting me high, all it really did was make me throw up and give me a headache, and the euphoria just wasn't there. And I don't want to be chasing a drug that doesn't even work. Like, that's ridiculous. I don't want to get high that bad. I mean, I'm glad I came to the realization I did, and I'm glad the drug stopped working. Otherwise, I'd be dead. But yeah, to keep it, I mean, this three-part story. I'm sorry I had to separate it like this. I don't have a camera, a good camera. I mean, I have that Akaso Brave 4, but I don't have a microphone for it, so the audio's kaput. It's bad. But yeah, I'll get into that funny story because it really is hilarious. I hope I can tell it and make it funny and not be boring like I usually am. But I'll see you guys then, and I mean, don't do drugs.